Happy Monday, ladies and gents. I hope you had a super weekend and welcome to Living With Us. Our topic for today is sleep training, babies and children, and that manic period in your life as a mother or a father where you're sleep deprived, you haven't eaten, and you're freaking out. How do you start? Where do you start? Our guest today is Kiarie, who's here to share her expertise with us. She's a sleep coach or a sleep trainer for adults who have trouble sleeping. This isn't your show. This is for the little ones. But before we dive into the conversation, please join us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook and share your thoughts on this topic. Maybe you have sentiments and agreements or disagreements to what was said today. It's okay. We'll take it. We want to hear what you have to share, especially since this topic can be a little controversial, right?
You're right.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We were discussing before the show our babies, because we both have little ones.
Yeah.
And we realized that they were born a day apart.
Yeah.
So already I'm a little terrified to ask how your daughter is doing when it comes to her sleeping. Does she sleep through the night and she's good?
Well, my son is the one that's
okay.
Your age mate.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Well, I have a daughter who's 4.
Okay.
But my son is sleeping through the night, and they have been sleeping through the night since they were born.
What? Oh, you see, this is why I didn't want to ask that question, because then I'm going to start panicking like I wasn't doing the right thing. But
No.
before we get into all of that, maybe you could start by explaining to our viewers what exactly is sleep training.
Okay, you know what? People ask me all the time, what is sleep training? Some people have an idea. Some people have never heard of it before, so they don't even know it exists.
Okay.
But sleep training is basically what it sounds like. It is teaching a young baby or a toddler how to self-soothe, how to sleep through the night, because nobody is born knowing how to do it. You have to kind of teach them.
That feels really bizarre, that they're not born knowing how to do it.
No, they don't know how to self-soothe. They feel afraid. They have anxiety.
Yeah.
So they don't know where they are. I mean, everybody is born like out of this perfect environment.
Yeah.
And then one day, without warning, they're just brought out into, like, first of all, they're pushed and shoved, and like, it's traumatic being born, and even like being born through cesarean. It's really traumatic. And then you come out, and it's loud,
bright,
it's painful, it's too hot or cold.
Oh, is it painful for babies?
It is really painful, because you breathe, and then your lungs expand, and then somebody sparks you, like, slaps you on the bum, and then somebody pricks you with a needle. It's not nice. It's not nice.
Now I feel bad. I felt bad for the mothers who had to endure it, but I've never actually thought about it from the baby's perspective.
Babies are like in trouble when they're born, because they're just like, and we carry that through adulthood. You know, you always like turn around and be like, am I in danger? Is somebody following me? Because that's how you come out. Oh,
bless. Now I feel like, I'm sorry, babies. Not that they're watching and understanding, but I feel for them now. I've never had a moment to think about that.
Yeah.
But now actually focusing on the babies, why is it that babies seem to know that it's 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. and they keep waking up at night, but during the day you find a lot of babies just sleep through the day.
Yeah, exactly. They don't know what time it is.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to teach them this is day and this is night. Because when they're inside, when they're in the womb, when it's most quiet, when mommy is most quiet, that's when they can wake up and like do stuff. Right? That's why you have insomnia. A lot of pregnant women have insomnia. Because as soon as you lie down, baby wakes up. Because now they have time, they have space to move. Mama is lying down on her side. There's space to do a lot of things.
And maybe, I guess, when you're moving, it's almost like you're rocking them. It's like, okay.
So they sleep. So they're just asleep the whole entire day, and then they wake up at night. So they don't know what day it is. Well, they don't know what time of day it is.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're trying on purpose to hurt you.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like that. 3 a.m.
like,
calls.
Listen to me.
Yeah, if I tell you one more time to go back to sleep.
Exactly.
And you're not talking to a baby.
You're not talking to a baby. So we just kind of have to teach them.
Okay.
What's what.
Okay. So then what does this teaching look like? What are there methods to it?
Yeah, there are methods to it.
Yeah.
What we do in our method, in our training, is you have to teach the baby when it's day and when it's night, and what is acceptable for day and night. So during the day we eat, we play, we cuddle, and during the night we only sleep. Like we don't do any of those things during the night.
Yeah.
And then it's bright and loud during the day, and it's quiet and dark at night. So, you know, some parents want to draw the curtains and be really quiet during the day when the baby's taking a nap.
Yeah.
That's actually quite counterproductive for the baby, because it's not really teaching them the difference. So they don't know, can they be able to sleep, let's say, if you go to church? Can they be able to sleep if you go to a wedding?
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
And that's why some babies like yell and scream when they're sleepy during the day, because they just want to be quiet and dark. And that's unsustainable.
Yeah.
You know? So you teach them like real life. What is real life?
Yeah. So take me through the actual process. What does that look, especially for the night, because that's when it really gets draining for the parents who are having to take care. So what are the steps to this?
So I always say training a baby to sleep at night is not a nighttime thing. It's an all the time thing. Okay? So you have to begin with a routine during the day. You have to know what you're going to do during the day. Baby has to, like I said, anxiety. They have so much anxiety. And to quell some of that fear and some of that not knowing what's going to happen is to have a routine. So you're going to do this first thing when you wake up, then this, then this, then this. And this is when your food comes. And this is when your bath comes. And this is when, you know, everything is in a routine, and they know from day to day what to expect. My son, for example, if we don't give him his bath at like 5:36, he'll start to agitate. And he'll be like, what's going on? And we're like, okay, we can't give you your bath right now. We're out at a wedding or we're out at a party. And he's like, no, I mean, come on. I want my bath right now, because he's going down for the night at like 6:37. And he wants it, he expects it. It gives him calm and safety.
I see, I hear you. And I've also heard actually that routines are what make children feel safe. And it forms fond memories for them. And they remember how we used to
always
do
A, B, C, D on Saturday.
And then we'd always do this. So routines are great, and it starts from the beginning.
It starts from the beginning.
So what does the nighttime routine look like when you're taking like a parent through, a new mother through this? What would you advise them to do in the evening?
In the evening, first of all, rock solid bedtime routine that never changes. You always have to do the same thing every evening. Is it giving a bath? Is it a story? Is it a massage? Do it every single night. So the baby knows as soon as they get that bath, they start to wind down. Their body will start to tell them, oh, it's time for bed. So as soon as they get whatever it is that you're doing at night, they'll start to go down immediately. You don't even have to rock them or any of that stuff that parents want to do. Because they're already used to it. And it takes such a short time.
Like how long?
5 days.
5 days? Of doing the same thing? Wait a second.
And then the baby starts to expect it. Start to expect it.
So then do you just place the baby on the bed and then say good night and close the door?
I mean, that's how we do it. And that's what I recommend for parents to do, is have the bath, hot bath, like hot enough for you to bath in, not that lukewarm thing that people try. I mean, you know, in the hospital, they have a routine, right? And then they bath them with really hot water. Is to help the body relax. I mean, after a long day, you want to relax. So, bath, hot water, massage, feed, burp baby, and put baby to sleep.
And so what usually is the baby's immediate reaction?
They actually go off to sleep because they're really like tired. And then they're relaxed, and then they're fed. So they actually are already sleepy. What we kind of do that's counterproductive is hold them and rock them, right?
But that's a cute part, isn't it?
I mean, it is a cute part, but you kind of have to fight it, because somebody who wants to sleep doesn't really want that prolonged interaction.
And maybe I guess it's cute when they're like 3 months.
Yeah.
It's annoying when they're 3 years old and you're like, no, you should have gotten this by now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's kind of cute and it's kind of your time to bond, but you want to make it as short as possible and kind of hold them. I mean, hold them when you're feeding them, whichever way you're feeding them, and then put them down to sleep.
Yeah.
Turn off the lights.
Are they, okay. Oh, okay. So the lights are even off.
Yeah.
And are they awake at this point, or are they almost asleep when you're doing this?
They're almost asleep when you're doing this.
But I found, like, for instance, with my daughter, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen those memes of, like, you're putting a baby to sleep, and it's like you're holding a ticking time bomb. And I found that the minute, you know, you try and do that, she'd be like, actually, no, I didn't ask. And she bursts into tears, and it's a whole thing. So how does one go about that? How do you just let them cry?
Think about it, Sharon. Is it the first day that they did that? You put them down and they started to cry. Was it the first day, or was it after a few days? Because if it's the first day, they don't care. They're already asleep. They want to sleep. But we teach them that I'm going to just hold on to you. I'm going to rock you. You're going to feel this nice warmth and this my heartbeat. So we kind of trick their minds into believing that we're going to hold them and they're going to sleep in our arms forever. And then we put them down onto a cold hard bed. So it's like sleeping on the couch and then being told to amka ukalale. You know, you'll be awake in bed. It's the same situation.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, if they wake up, what you want to do is wait for them to self-soothe for a certain amount of time.
How much time?
We usually recommend 10 minutes.
Self-soothe meaning let them cry?
Let them cry for a short while.
It's
only 10 minutes.
But I know for moms can feel like...
You know what? I get it.
Yeah.
I get it because your child is crying.
Yeah.
But we need to understand that a child crying is not sadness. It's not pain. It's just communication, because they can't say, what are you doing? Pick me up. Yeah, so they cry because they have no other way to say, I'm not comfortable with this.
Yeah.
What you need to understand is to help them, support them in that, you know, you're okay, you're over there, I'm over here, and you're fine, you're safe.
Okay.
But you give them the time to do that.
Okay.
We don't usually give a lot of time.
So
pick
10
them
minutes.
up immediately.
Yeah.
And then, so they get used to not being able to do it by themselves.
Okay.
So the training is, you teach them, they can do it by themselves.
Right. And at this point, where are you as the mom or the dad? Are you in the room?
Yeah, you can be in the room.
And
you
so
can
they're
be
just
right
watching
outside
you?
the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're just watching you and
it's
you're
nighttime,
not
so the lights are off.
Okay, I see. Right.
Yeah, so they can't really see you, but they can hear you.
Yeah.
And they know you're around.
I see. And do you keep this up even during their naps during the day? Or is it only for the evening that
I only recommend it for the evening. Naps during the day are not a big for me.
Yeah.
If they want to nap, they can nap. If they don't want to, they'll wake up and you can hold them and do something else.
Okay.
Until they're sleepy and you can put them down again.
And you follow the same routine of putting them
while
down?
they're sleepy and not asleep.
Okay.
Because they need to be able to fall asleep by themselves on the bed, on the sofa, wherever they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You talk about self-soothing.
Yeah.
What is that?
Okay. Do you know, like when you're feeling upset, what do? Drink a hot cup of tea or watch something nice. That is self-soothing.
Oh.
Somebody had to teach you to do that.
Okay.
Okay? Babies don't come out knowing how to do that. We have to soothe them. But we can teach them. Oh, you can do it by yourself, by the way. I'm teaching you how to self-soothe. This is what you do to feel better. I'll hold you. I'll make you feel loved. And then you can take over for yourself.
Okay.
And feel better.
Yeah.
Some of them suck their thumbs.
Okay.
Some of them suck their inner lip. My daughter sucks her inner lip.
Oh.
It's the cutest thing in life. But they learn to do it.
Yeah.
And they learn to hold on to things, toys, a blanket, like, I don't know, there's like a corner of a blanket. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. And they just start to feel like that's home.
Just to feel that's home.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Okay.
Because you can't they're not stuck to you.
Right.
For a very, very long time, I think even my 4-year-old daughter doesn't know that she's a different person from me. She thinks we're the same person.
Yeah.
We're
But
not.
you're not.
We're not the
You're
same
not.
person.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm
Yeah.
here for you, but you're your own person, and you
Yeah.
can make yourself feel better like this.
Right.
You know?
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to get into the discussion of, you know, the difficult parts of it and the harsh truths and why sometimes it can be a little controversial. But we'll be back in a moment. We're talking about babies and specifically how to put them to sleep. Our guest today is Kiarie, and she's got loads to share about how to sleep train and sleep coach, because that's what you do, right? And so I just wanted to find out, before we even get into the discussion of the difficult parts and the controversial part, but at what point should one start sleep training?
You know, there are all the answers in life out there.
Yeah.
You can Google this thing and find all the recommendations from doctors to pediatricians, midwives. Everybody has a recommendation. What do I say? Teach them from birth. That's the easiest time to learn anything because you don't know anything. And you're so young that you learn like this. Anything I teach you, you're going to be able to learn it and adopt it in the shortest time possible.
Yeah.
I train my children from birth, when they're born, when they come home.
Okay.
And by 2 weeks, a week and a half, we're sleeping through the night.
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, because I just can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
Week 2, your child was sleeping through the night?
Yes. People would come to our home to visit us and ask, are you serious? Are you sure you have a newborn? Why do you look so rested? Why does the house look so clean? Why does...
2 weeks?
Yeah.
And when you say sleep through the night, you mean like from what time to what?
I mean from 7 to 7.
What?
Yeah.
But, okay, they wake up for feeds.
No, they wake up for one feed at 10 p.m. and that's it.
I need to pick, sorry, excuse me, I need to pick my jaw from the ground because I'm still...
Yeah. Yeah, people don't believe us. They did not believe us when we had our firstborn, and they said all the time, it's because she's a girl, she's a girl, she's a girl.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I mean, and then God played a trick and gave us a boy.
Yeah.
Same thing. You guys are like, okay, fine, now we get it.
Within
now
2
we
weeks.
Now we want to know what you guys are doing. Now you're doing something. And we're like, yeah, we've been telling you this on the long.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
telling you this.
yeah, I know sometimes sleep training can be a little controversial. Actually, I think all things related to pregnancy and babies, you never know. And there's people who come out very strong in their opinions on why it does not work or why it absolutely does.
Yes.
But maybe you could take us through the harsh truths around sleep training, the difficult bits, and why it seems to, you know, be 50-50.
I mean, there is a school of thought that say, let a baby be a baby, and it's just for a short while, and then you can teach them stuff when they're 5 years old.
Right.
And that is really difficult for me to accept. I don't want to be a working hard parent. I just want to be a parent and enjoy my child. And especially when you have postpartum depression, you do not want to be sick. You do not want to be tired. You want help, a lot of help. And your child can give you that help if you teach them.
Right.
Yeah, so I just recommend sleep train your baby or not, depending on what you want. It has to work for your family.
Okay.
Yeah, what we do in our coaching is specialized. It's for your child. It's not for any child.
Okay, so on average, how long do the children take to sleep? The ones that you sleep train?
Sleep train?
How long does it take for them to get it?
Okay, so we've sleep trained between, from newborns to up until 15 months.
Okay.
The longest our child has ever taken to learn the feedback that we've gotten is 10 days.
Wow.
The shortest is 3 days.
And they sleep through the night?
Through the night from 7 to 7.
And so is there a time limit to when you should start, or does it get harder the older they are?
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I mean, the 15-month-old already knows how to manipulate you. They already know what to do. They already know how to climb out of their bed.
Okay.
Teaching them is something quite different than teaching a newborn who stays where you put them. So the younger they are, the easier it is to teach them anything.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
What do you say to parents who have a hard time listening to their child crying and knowing that they can't be the ones to soothe them?
Yeah, I mean, you live.
You live. Tough truths here. Blunt is that you live. Get over it.
You will live, and so will your child.
But it's so difficult.
I mean, sometimes you watch the news and you find babies are in the dumpster.
Oof.
And somebody heard them, and when they're taken to the doctor said, you know, this baby is three days old.
Yeah.
So 3 days after, a baby is still crying. That person did not die. They're alive, and they did not eat.
Yeah.
Nobody will die from not eating one night.
Oh, that went left. That was a hard one to swallow. I didn't see that one coming, but I think I understand what you're saying, and that is at the end of the day, those 5-10 minutes of them crying does not define the rest of your life.
No,
but
it doesn't.
Can a child get traumatized by that?
There is a school of thought that a child can get traumatized by that. And we do not leave children crying for hours and hours.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
It's 10 minutes. You go in, you intervene, you tell your baby, it's time to sleep.
Okay.
You reassure them that you're there.
Yeah.
You've not abandoned them.
Okay.
And then you leave them be.
You pick them up?
I mean, you don't have to pick them up.
Okay.
In fact, I don't recommend picking them up.
Okay.
You can touch them.
Yeah.
And reassure them that you're just outside.
Yeah.
And it's just time to sleep. It's not time to cuddle or eat. And then you go back outside.
And how many times?
They usually settle after the first time you go in. They're like, oh, okay, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Usually they settle after that.
Okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a long time.
What happens, say, for instance, you go on a trip and it gets difficult to keep up the routine. Does it mean you have to start afresh when you come back?
Why does it get difficult?
So
what are some of the...
maybe for instance, time zones. So you moved to a different place, so already your body as an adult is not settled and you're not sleeping with the same routine.
Okay.
Or maybe because it's you went for a function or something like that, you're not able to literally, maybe it's a wedding, it's a 5-day wedding affair, and it's difficult. Does it mean you start afresh?
Okay, so what we usually do, and we travel a lot with our children out of the country and to different time zones. So what we do is we stick to home time zone for a day or two.
Oh.
And then we switch. So we teach the child, so we're going to switch to this time zone, but then we have to have the transition, okay? And since you're, let's say, feeding, there's a feeding schedule, you keep that as much as you possibly can, just so that you don't get, undo anything that you have done, and don't get caught up, let's say, rocking your baby to sleep or sleeping late. Just try as much as possible to do what you can. We always have a stroller with us, so if it gets to evening, put baby in stroller and baby sleeps through the wedding.
Okay.
You know?
So there are ways around it.
Yeah.
Okay. And how does this sleep training affect a baby's attachment to the mom or the dad?
Yeah. You know what? I don't consider that it has a big effect on attachment. And I know there are scholars out there who might say, no, it actually does. But it makes the baby trust you more because they know exactly what's coming at any given time of the day. They can trust mama to do A, B, C, D at such and such a time.
Yeah.
So they know, they have that trust. You're building trust with your baby and you're alleviating anxiety. So does that affect attachment? I don't think so.
It doesn't seem like it,
It doesn't seem like it from where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
It just kind of seems like you're teaching your child, you know, I'm going to do this for you so that you can be secure.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, yeah, I know I expect mama to give me a bath every single evening at 6:30 and not to ever skip a beat, you know.
Are there things that could affect a baby's ability to sleep through the night?
Yeah.
What are some of those
When
things?
they're sick,
Ah,
yeah.
Okay.
When they're sick, and that's basically it. When they're sick,
okay.
when they have colic or reflux or things to do with their stomach, they can't sleep.
Right.
So they're uncomfortable, so they're awake.
Okay.
That's something for a doctor.
Yeah,
That is
to
not
handle.
for to handle.
And-
And you don't teach a sick baby anything. You just take care of them when they're sick.
Oh, so that changes a little.
Yeah. So if you're in the middle, let's say, of a sleep training schedule and your baby falls sick, you need to first prioritize
Okay.
sick baby,
Yeah.
get well soon, and then pick it up
Yeah.
after.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does it change at all depending on whether you're weaning them or potty training them? Does any of that affect the schedule that you've set?
No.
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 Toughen up, kids. Okay.
It doesn't.
So you keep to the schedule.
Yeah, keep to the schedule. Yeah, it doesn't matter
Okay.
what else you're teaching them. They can learn many things at once. I mean, babies learn, is it 5-7 languages at once?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So
soak in so much.
they're a sponge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they can learn so many things. It doesn't matter.
Okay, I hear you. And are there times when maybe, I guess, some parents believe that right from the onset, children should sleep in a different room?
Yeah.
Does sleep training have any thoughts on that, or is it attached to one rather than the other? Whether you're co-sleeping or they have their own room.
You
in
know
bed?
what, Sharon? It doesn't matter if
Okay.
you're co-sleeping.
Really?
Yeah, or if they're sleeping in your room
Yeah.
on their own bed, or if they're sleeping in their bed in their own room.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what happens, what you're doing.
Yeah.
In fact, it might even be nice, like let's say if you're sleeping in the same room. I've never co-slept.
Okay.
So I don't know what it is to sleep with my child in the bed.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of talk out there about the benefits of sleeping with your child in the bed. But I will say this. I'm not comfortable even sleeping with my husband in the bed.
Let alone a baby.
The days that my husband isn't around, I sleep very well.
Yeah.
I mean, every time he turns, I can hear him and I wake up.
Yeah.
So that's for a baby, it's the same thing. So if you want your baby to sleep through the night
Yeah.
and like really good, have them in their own bed. It can be in your room, but when you turn, they don't have to hear that and they don't have to wake up. If you get out of bed, they don't have to wake up. Nothing
Yeah.
disturbs them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was also going to say, like, if you're in the same bed,
Yeah.
then they have quick access to breast milk.
Exactly.
And I feel like that will even make the tantrums bigger
It
because
i-
they're
it-
like, excuse me, I can
It
see
will.
you.
And
I can see you right
smell.
here.
I can smell. You know, their sense of smell is like really
Very strong.
very strong. So they might not see you because they can only see like like 10 inches.
True.
And they might not even hear you, let's say, but they can smell you and they want the milk
Okay.
because it makes them feel better.
yeah.
So even if they're not hungry, they
Yeah.
will breastfeed
Yeah.
to feel better, to soothe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But say, for instance, you don't have the luxury of the baby having their own room
Yeah.
or their own cot.
Yeah.
And you have to sleep on the same bed
Yes.
with the baby.
Yes.
How would you go about then sleep training there, especially when they can smell? And I'm
Exactly.
assuming maybe someone's watching this and they're 9 months into it. So the baby is able to roll over at this point and they're like...
And pull at your clothes.
and literally pull at their drink. They're
Yeah.
like, I can see what I'm after. I want it. So how do you do... And it happens. It happens, right?
Yeah, it happens.
And again, you don't know what stage someone is at when they're doing this, and so the baby
Yeah.
could be a year old or whatever. But how then would you go about sleep
Yeah, I
training?
mean, it's about discipline. So you can just say no. I mean, in the nighttime is for sleeping. My grandmother always used to say, and she was a midwife and a certified midwife. She got her degrees, I think, in London or something like that. Those days. You know what
Oh,
I'm
look
saying?
at
So
your
she was like,
grandma.
you know, so she always used to say, Mama, nobody needs to nobody needs to eat at night.
Okay.
Okay? It's difficult to tell the person you're sleeping with, no, leave me alone.
Yeah.
But then it's going to just be for a few days.
Yeah.
2 days, 3 days, they're going to stop fooling. and they're going to stop asking.
Right.
And they will even stop waking up.
Okay.
Because waking up for what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just have to be like, not at night. In the morning, I got you.
Yeah. Okay.
But at night, let's just sleep.
Sleep.
You know.
But I know earlier on, you know, babies need to be fed every so often.
Yeah.
So there are feeds that need to take place at night.
Yeah.
How do you go about that? Do you set the time and say, you know, the same way you go to bed at 7, you will only get your milk at this time?
Yes.
So
Okay,
you decide, or does a baby?
So we decide, first of all, you look at your baby, and when you have about maybe 2 days in the hospital, and you can see when your baby is ready to feed. And then where I had my babies, they feed them every 3 hours. Yeah, in the nursery. So I was like, oh, okay, 3 hours is good. I mean, baby is always ready to eat every 3 hours, so I'm gonna keep it at that.
Okay.
And then I kept it at that when I got home. And then I decided that we will not feed at night.
Okay.
So there's a time for the last feed at night, which was 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And then the first feed, which was 5 p.m.
Okay.
5 a.m. So we have 7 hours of sleep in between.
Okay.
So I'd wake him up and feed him at 10, and then I'd wake him up and feed him at 5.
Did it affect baby's growth or?
Nope.
Okay.
My babies are
Happy and healthy.
Happy.
Yeah.
Every checkup we go to, they're like growing really well.
Okay,
Are you
good.
breastfeed? And we breastfed exclusively for 6 months.
Okay.
And I know people who breastfeed and formula feed for 6 months, and they can sleep train.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
You can sleep train your baby, and they can't sleep for 7-8 hours at night. Yeah.
Okay, we need to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to ask, what happens when you've got neighbors around you and there's a screaming baby and they're all just staring at you like, what's going on in that house? We'll be back in a moment. If you're just joining us, then here's a quick intro into the discussion. We're talking about sleep training. When do you start and how do you do it? Should you be concerned about whether your baby is well fed and if they're okay and if they're sick, and how does it interfere with your sleep training schedule? And that's what we've been getting into the past almost 1 hour now. Our time's almost up, but we still have a few more to get into. But before we even dive into that, I just want to start with a quick fact, which is children with good sleeping skills test higher in math and science later in life. Hello.
Hi.
Look. I think if you need a little bit more convincing, you want to start quick.
And
you want to start early with sleep training.
Anybody who sleeps through the night, sleeps well at night, is happier during the day.
And performs better. That's why they say you have to have at least 7 to 8 hours. Your body needs to go through all the motions.
Your body needs it.
And especially as, I know we're focusing a lot on the babies, but even for new parents, it can be an incredibly difficult, trying period when you have a child. And then you're not getting any sleep. And you're barely getting your food in, and you're sore, and it can be a lot.
And the people who go through depression.
And postpartum depression, exactly.
What happens?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just too much.
It can be.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So my question now is, sleep training can seem all fun and good, and it's cute until, well, okay, no. In theory, the idea of it can seem like, oh, that's cute. Your baby sleeps through the night.
Yeah.
But what happens when you're in the process of it and you're in, you're literally, your neighbor puts their cup of coffee down and you hear it. So they can hear your baby crying. And so what should one do when you're living in a neighborhood like
and you know what I found, which is very, very interesting, Sharon, is before I had children, I never heard children cry. Never.
Really?
Never.
So I guess, okay.
Never.
Okay.
And then, even after that, even after I had my first child, I didn't hear neighbors' children cry.
Really?
Only mine.
Wait, but I bet there's some instances, because sometimes I've heard neighbors' kids
in
crying.
The middle of the night.
In the neighborhood, right?
In the middle of the night.
Actually, I don't know if I've
No,
ever heard
you
that.
don't.
Maybe during the day, you're right.
Your brain is wired to hear your child cry. Not other people's children.
I don't listen. I'd love to hear from you guys. Have you ever heard your neighbors kids crying at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
And maybe they can let us know. But assuming
Maybe.
that that's the situation,
Maybe
because maybe
some of them.
maybe the thing also is,
Yeah.
maybe you're not hearing your neighbors' kids crying,
Yeah.
but maybe you're in a house with 6 other individuals.
Exactly.
So maybe you're sharing rooms with other people.
Yeah, and of course,
or
maybe
sharing a
you do
house,
hear
rather.
your neighbor's cry.
Yeah.
Your neighbor's child cry. Maybe you do hear it.
Yeah.
And one day you might go and ask, why is the baby crying? But babies cry all the time. Newborn babies cry all the time. It doesn't matter if you are training them or not.
Yeah.
They will cry.
Yeah, but
So
it can
you
be.
might as well be training them.
Earlier on. But I think sometimes it can be a little difficult as a parent when you know, oof, am I disrupting other people's sleeps? And then they come knocking on your door. And so how would you advise someone to handle that? Should they have a neighborhood meeting, send a quick WhatsApp text to everyone, like, this is what I'm doing? Or how does one...
No, you don't have to tell anybody anything.
Okay.
But if they come and ask, you'll be like, yeah, he cries at night sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a baby. I don't know what to tell
you. And
he's
story.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine, and we're taking care of it. You don't have to tell anybody what you're doing. I mean, there's so much pressure parents go through.
That's true.
And it's just...
that is so true.
Everybody has an opinion on everything. So just be like, yeah, sometimes he cries at night.
Yeah.
And he's fine. We're taking care of it, and he'll be fine.
I love that. That you're not succumbing to the pressure, which...
No, you don't need to. You don't need to explain everything to everyone, send a WhatsApp message. Nope. I mean, because people will come out and say, no, don't do it, Sharon, no. And some people will be like, yeah, do it, or how are you doing it?
And sleep training, the truth is sleep training seems like a new, well, it's new-ish. It's coming out more and more. I think our parents and our mothers never really went into sleep training.
Although we were sleep trained.
Were you?
Yeah, we were sleep trained.
Oh.
Yeah. So my grandmother is my mother's mother.
Yeah.
And she's the one who was telling my mother, Mama, nobody needs to eat at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were sleep trained, so we know about it. We've grown up with it.
So it feels like it's life.
It's just
But
life.
I think for a lot of people, they are of the school of thought that, just cuddle the baby. It might be new. So I feel like you would end up getting a lot of resistance from your mother, from the aunties, from the mother-in-law, from people saying, I just pick the baby up.
Yeah.
So I hear you. When you start to explain yourself, then it gives people room to interject. And come in.
Yeah. And you don't need to. I mean, it doesn't matter even if you pick the baby up. Some of them still cry through the picking up.
That's
so it
true.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Babies still cry.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about co-sleeping. So in this whole sleep training process, when should one ideally move the baby into their own room?
When you want.
Okay.
When you want. It's up to you.
It's
Some
a matter
people
of
don't even have another room.
Yeah.
Some people don't even have another bed. Sleep with your baby.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, and it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
If you want to sleep with your baby, sleep with your baby.
Okay.
I mean, if you're in a marriage, I don't know how you're going to do your life, your marriage.
Good point. You might want to move the baby a little sooner.
If you're in a relationship, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what you're doing. So have a balance, I would say. But then that's not my forte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's up to you.
If you want to sleep with the baby, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, and sleep training doesn't necessarily work better when they're in a different room.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
I would say it works better when they're in a different bed.
In a different bed?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not particularly a different room.
Okay. Say, for instance, there could be people watching it now, watching this show right now, and are wondering how to start with maybe their 4-year-old because they never started and they've always had issues, and there's someone always coming into the room and saying, Mom.
Yeah.
So how different is this?
A 4-year-old you can have a conversation with and say, we're going to start something new. This is what we are now doing. Okay, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And there's a reward at the end of the night.
Oh.
In the morning, there's a reward for staying in your room the whole night. It's very, very different with a 4-year-old. They can understand what you're doing and they can understand what you're saying. And the longer they stay in their room, the greater the reward. You go out to the shop, pick a reward together, and be like, the day you stay in your room the whole night, we're gonna come back and get this.
Yeah.
You know? So it's, a 4-year-old is an adult.
Yeah.
That one is like, you can do anything.
Okay, so you have the conversation, and you just have to use the tone and be firm.
Yeah. And be like, this is what we're going to do.
And
because my 4-year-old wants to come into my room in the middle of the night and use my bathroom instead of her own bathroom. And I'm always like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, don't wake me up one more time.
Yeah.
You know, but she gets it.
Yeah.
She understands.
There's a tone that moms use.
Yeah.
That tone where you're like,
listen.
or even a look. Sometimes it's not even a tone. It's just a look. You just need to look at someone and they're like,
Let me just go back. Let me just go back to my room.
Abort mission.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's even the same when babies are starting school. By that time, do you assume that, and again, this topic is quite controversial because some people start with like preschool.
Yeah.
But depending on whenever you do take your child to school, does sleep training change?
No.
Okay.
Once you start the sleep training, they will always sleep like that. So my 4-year-old, I keep mentioning, she sleeps through the night because we started that way. Okay, so she doesn't have to wake up for anything and only to go to the loo.
Yeah.
And in kindergarten that she goes to, she has to take a nap in the afternoon.
Okay.
They don't care if you sleep or not, but you have to stay in your bed.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing at home.
Okay.
I don't care if you sleep or not, but you have to be in your bed from 7 p.m.
Okay.
And then you can talk. You can play with your toys quietly because your brother is sleeping in the same room.
Yeah.
But you have to be in your bed. It's not a TV time. It's not a hanging out time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's sleep time.
It's sleep time.
So this, I think, what we've touched on is mostly focused on people with just one child, one baby.
Yes.
But what happens when you have twins or multiples?
Yes. So I have trained twins before.
Yeah.
And what we recommend for the twins, and we came up with this together with the parents, is separate the sleeping arrangements of the twins. Okay. So during the day they're together, but at night they sleep separately. Okay.
You mean in different beds?
In different rooms even.
Oh.
So that if one wakes up, they don't wake up the other one.
Okay.
Okay. So
isn't that double the work though? Then it means
it is. But people with twins have one more person to always help. They always have one person, either their spouse or a maid or somebody, their parent. Yeah, so they always have. So you sleep in different spaces. So if one wakes up, they don't wake up the other one.
Yeah.
When they're trained, they can sleep together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And can babies sleep train on their own?
You know what?
Yeah.
The internet says no.
Okay. Dr. Google said no.
Yeah. I mean, but I've had very, very many stories of people who say my baby's sleep trained. They learned to sleep by themselves when they were 4 months old, 5 months old. And then later in life, when they're like 10 months old, they regress.
What would cause a regression?
It's nature that took over. Okay, so nature told them, okay, sleep longer because you need longer sleep. So they didn't really learn anything. There were no principles to the learning. Remember how I said sleeping during the night is not a nighttime thing? It's like a every day thing.
It's 24 hour.
24 hour. So you're putting into effect principles during the day that will help the baby sleep at night. But then when they learn by themselves, they're not putting into principle anything. They're just sleeping longer because, let's say, they're tired that week or that month.
Yeah.
Okay. So when they're not tired, they're going to wake up.
Oh gosh.
So that is what happens when you let the baby teach themselves.
Right.
So you'll have a few months of, yay, my baby's sleep. It's done. It is not done.
Yeah.
It's not done. And when you sleep train a baby, they never regress. They always sleep through the night.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happens, speaking of regression, what happens if maybe they go for a sleepover? Maybe your mother is like, okay, it's time now. I think I can take care of this little lady or little guy. And say they're a year and a half or something. how important is it that they also stick to a schedule?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's important.
Yeah.
But thank God those sleepovers are not a month long. They're very, very short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always like, let life take place as well. It doesn't have to be like military.
Okay.
Because if they visit your mother, it's going to be 2 days.
Right.
And then they'll come back and fall right into
into position.
Back into their
Okay.
program.
Maybe we could end by you sharing some of the best parts that you've experienced as a mom around sleep training and some of the challenges. And, you know, I love that you've been keeping it real this whole time.
Yeah.
So maybe share, for those who want to get into this, what can they really expect from this, and what have you loved about this process?
What I personally really, really love about this process is time in the evening to be myself, to be a wife, because I'm married to this incredible guy.
Yeah.
And we always go out. And anybody, we didn't have help for a very long time. And anybody who comes to watch our children at night is literally sitting in the living room watching TV, because they don't wake up. There's no struggle of we can't be able to go out. So as soon as a month in, we're able to go out and watch a movie and eat dinner and come back. And the stories of people that they tell me after I've sleep trained their children is like, Kit, you gave me my marriage back. Kit, you gave me my life back. Ladies are able to go out, like single parents, they're able to go out on the night, literally 2 months after their baby is born.
Wow.
And they feel, because you have been carrying this baby for so long,
you're like, okay, time up. I need a moment. I need a time out for myself.
Time.
Yeah.
You know, so you're able to go out and be yourself.
Right.
And that's
and the challenges, maybe very quickly you could share some
and
of
the challenges are
parts.
obviously your baby's crying.
Yeah.
Obviously. So you have sleepless nights of your baby's crying, but you know that it's going to end literally by Sunday.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. It's not an endless
2 months. Yeah, exactly.
And
in fact, you said it's like between 5 and 10 days, isn't
Sunday,
it?
you'll be fine.
Okay.
So that's all you have to hold on to.
Man, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think this
so
has
much.
been so eye-opening for a lot of people watching and have been very curious about the topic. To hear you share your personal story on your 2 children.
Yeah.
That in a few weeks you were getting them to sleep through the night. If anyone's watching and they were like, I have never really met anyone. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here she is in the flesh. Hello. So it can happen, and sure, it's difficult. But again, like anything else, you take the rein. You decide if this is something for you, if it's not for you. Do your research, but like she said, I mean, it happens, and they grow up to be happy and healthy. And the fact said earlier, the quick fact showed us that they do perform better in some studies too. So good luck if you're going to take this on. I wish you all the best. Thank you for joining us for the past 1 hour. Remember that we're loving all the conversations that you've been sharing with us online. And if you want to chime in some more, feel free to hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, or through the SMS line as well. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, that's Living With Us. And we will be back, getting ahead of myself, but we will be back tomorrow talking about business and finance, which is another one of my favorite topics. So we'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m.